I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you would, follow along with the pledge and Marshall with the invocation.
Bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this afternoon and the beautiful weather that we've been having. We also appreciate that it's about to turn fall and we're going to have even nicer weather in the beautiful Ozarks here. We ask you to give us the wisdom to move forward and make great decisions for our community, and that our values are always on full display. Thank you so much. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Marshall. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Lucas. Denham.
Here.
Cooper.
Here.
Milton. Here. Howden. LeBlanc. Schultz. Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. On the agenda tonight, we're going to have a discussion of the historic downtown Branson Community Improvement District, the SID, and it sounds like we're going to hear from Kyle. Yes. Kyle, you're up. Oh, is he there, here?
Mayor and board, thank you very much for having us. My name is Kyle Young, and I'm here just to talk about our SID. I'm sure you're familiar with our SID. We run the trolleys, you know, that you see running around, Sparky. And so we've got 3 of those guys running around picking up millions of tourists over the years. You know, thank you very much. Let's see, the first SID started 18 years ago, so we're up for renewal in about 2 years. And the process, I've been on the board for about 4 or 5 years, so we're in a renewal process situation. We have an attorney that we've been talking to that kind of helps us with that. You might be more familiar with that than I am, but we do know that it takes some time to do the renewal. So we appreciate this opportunity to be able to talk to you guys and kind of let you know what we do. And if I can answer any questions, I'm more than happy. I've got some information with me. Hopefully we'll be able to answer all your questions. So some of our highlights, I know that you have some of these notes, so I'll just hit on some of the highlights. You know, we have the free public transportation system within the district. Our SID worked with the city in this great cooperation, redid the Aubrey bathrooms. A lot of people appreciate that. We worked with the city also when we redid the landscaping, and we provided funding for ongoing landscaping, upkeep, annual maintenance for that. We recently worked with the city again, and you know, just a couple years ago, we got all those big, beautiful snowflake lights hung on all the lamp poles. I think we started out with 60 and then added another 60 or something like that. We're well over 100 lights now that have these big, beautiful, you know, we get a lot of comments on those. So you're familiar with those. Some of the other things that we've done in the past, we paid for the trolley shelter that's at the Liberty Plaza. We heavily advertise using a Facebook vacation channel, Branson Visitor TV, brochures, billboards. We heavily advertise the historic downtown district. And our next project that we're working on that's going to be really, really cool is across there from Peddler's Pete, is we've got a 30-foot Christmas tree that's going to be going in there, and that'll be just a great place for photos, and you know, you can just imagine being this huge draw that we've got. So I think our tourists are really going to appreciate that, and also, as importantly, our downtown businesses that we represent are also going to appreciate the amount of tourism that we drive to that area. And, you know, and then in addition, you know, whenever we have like travel writers come in, it's not unusual for us to work with the city and some of the other organizations to have travel writers ride within the district so they can kind of see all of our historic downtown and write nice pieces for people to come. The financial impact, as we've been able to kind of put together some notes, is that we know that the best thing that we have going for us is that we're bringing people from outside, you know, areas into the district. and because where we know that parking's trouble. So a lot of people are parking all over on the edges of our district, but they're able to get to us, and then we're able to move people around within the district and also make it easy for people to come and go from, within the district. We have about 13 stops that we do. We have 12 stops right now, 13 or 12. We have 12 right now. The reason we don't have the 13th right now is, the ROARC remodel is going on. But when that finishes, they've all expressed interest about us adding another stop there. But as far as an economic impact goes, you have this handout here that talks about the number of parking places that we have, the number of parking places that are likely to be used by ongoing businesses and their employees, so we know that there's a parking deficit. So the fact that we can prove we move thousands of people a month, over 1 million people in our 18-year history, that we know through that we are moving a lot of people within that district and making it easy for people to come and go and spend their time and money in Branson. I'm a business owner in the district. Chris Knippel is a business owner in the district. We get direct comments from customers about the trolley, all to the benefit. The campground, that stop out there, by far our most popular campground, our most popular stop, and the Belk parking lot stop, very, very popular. But in addition to serving the tourists that come in, which in turn serve the businesses, there's also a bit of resident and employee ridership that goes on also. So we're able to help move employees in and out of workspaces also. So that's a nice fringe for our business. You have a handout here. Funding partnership makes riding Molly the trolley free. This is just an example of another city that's using a trolley system and the benefits of that trolley system. It certainly, public transportation is a valuable commodity in any community. And, we're able to provide that at no cost. And it's not, our trolleys are beautiful. They're clean, they're well kept, our drivers are polite. It's a good representation of the city and our community, all of our drivers in there. So that's what I've got for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Kyle?
Yes.
There's been a lot of discussions about the trolley, and I think some really healthy discussions. I'm curious, because this is an idea that was kind of brought up to me. Has there ever been any discussion of working with the 76 CID and making this trolley more of a city-wide thing? And kind of, it could be a cost-sharing thing, but it could also handle some of the issues that we have with public transportation in our community. And could also funnel some people downtown from other districts in the community. I'm curious if that's ever even been brought up to you, because it was brought up to me as an idea.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, we are interested in seeing if we can grow this with the 76th district. I don't know the legal intricacies of doing that. My understanding, for us to renew our SID, we can use a recent statute, 67-1481.6, that kind of allows us to do the same thing in the same manner. So I don't know the legal intricacies of that, but we have recently, because this has come up, we've recently said, hey, this needs to be on our radar also. Yes.
Kyle, thanks for being here, and I also just want to say thanks to your board. I've attended your last several meetings, and it's been great to listen to you guys work, and
Yeah, thank you for your interest.
Appreciate all the things you do. I just kind of follow up on your comment that you made a couple of times. Obviously, our underlying issue is we don't have enough parking in downtown Branson. As part of your scope, whether we could do it in a straight renewal or if it would require a complete retooling of the CID, do you envision, or have you talked about the possibility of working actually directly on getting more parking downtown?
We have discussed like do we have the ability to purchase a piece of land and make that parking? We don't have the funds to build a parking garage. You know, we would like to, we would do anything to work with you to get more parking. If you've got an idea that we can help with, we're all ears. We know that it's an issue. It's an issue for our constituents is parking, and that's who we're going to serve is the people that are in our SID.
Yeah, I'd kind of look at it as maybe hand in hand with the idea that Marshall brought up about maybe cooperating with the 76 CID, because that may allow you to free up some of the investment that you're doing in the trolleys you're running now, because you'd be cooperating with a larger organization. And I also would echo the concept of a public-private partnership look at that to maybe, you know, the CIDs are providing some funding either for infrastructure or whatever it might be, and then you allow a company to operate it and do it for a minimal charge to make money on top of it. You know, just something along those concepts. But the general idea would be that might free up some of your tax revenue to start applying it towards other areas. And you are, since you are a CID, you probably have bonding capability. And so you could look at a multi-year program through a bond to develop some type of additional parking in downtown. And whether it's a parking garage or another surface parking lot, at this point, I think any movements we can make to add parking downtown, I think all the merchants would applaud that.
Yes.
When Alderman Lucas and I walked the downtown, number one topic was parking that people wanted to talk to us about.
Yes.
So I think that's on everybody's mind. You said it a couple of times.
Yes.
So I'd really like to encourage the board as you kind of finalize, you know, what you're renewing and what you want to do in the future to maybe look a little bit beyond just doing more trolley things to relieve parking and, you know, maybe look for a partnership and then apply some of those dollars towards a parking situation.
Yeah, thank you. We'll do that. We've got a meeting next Tuesday. We can start putting those things on the agenda and start putting our heads towards that. I think it's a good idea.
That's great. Appreciate that. And then one other thing, I didn't see it in your handout, but I think it would be helpful for us as a board of aldermen if you could also give us your finances for year to date and maybe your projection for next year. It doesn't have to be tonight. If you could just maybe follow up on that.
I don't have that information with me, but we could certainly get that real easy.
I know you've given it to me at the meeting, so if you could just
yes, sir.
copy the board, that would be great.
Yes, sir. Easy. Any other questions, folks?
I'd like to follow up on a few that have already been mentioned. I've had a few businesses ask the question if, because parking is clearly the number one obstacle with our downtown businesses, would there be any consideration when this gets renewed, and I don't know if it'd have to be rewritten, but exchange out the service that the trolley's providing and use those, whatever, 600, 700,000 a year revenue to go towards a bond for a parking garage downtown?
That's not anything I'm capable of speaking on.
Oh, sure.
That's above my experience, but we can certainly look into it, yes, along with the things that Alderman Schultz has mentioned. We can certainly do that, Mayor.
And I believe that if we had any of those discussions, Holly, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the SID is currently worded, I think it would have to be a, what's it called, Holly, when you start over?
A new beginning.
Oh, brother. Oh, brother. I could
No,
have come up
we're
with
not.
that.
I believe it would be a new initiation of the process, so.
Initiative.
Yes.
Initiative.
The current sales tax is limited to what was put on the ballot, but because they're reissuing a new ballot, they could expand that and include parking structure or infrastructure improvements.
Yeah, okay. So those would, Carl, those would go hand in hand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, connecting with 76, that's been brought up. And I'm on the 76 CID board, so maybe at our next meeting, which is soon, I'll bring that up to them and see what their appetite would be. I just, over the years, the input I've been given from the downtown businesses is there wasn't a lot of support for what Sparky's currently doing. I know this started 18 years ago, but with the number of people, ridership on Sparky, what service that's providing versus the real need of allowing visitors to actually park downtown. So I just,
Yeah, it's certainly a balance. We know that the city of Branson area, that downtown area, parking's tough.
oh, it's tough.
Parking's tough. We're doing, what we do, we know that we have an impact on that, but there are bigger things that would have to be done to have a huge impact on it.
Yeah.
But we do what we do very efficiently with it and move a lot of people around. But yes, more could be done. And it would require a partnership with a 76 CID or a rewriting of an initiative. I'm sure of it, just from what limited I know.
And Kyle, you said you have a business downtown?
Yes, sir.
So when you visit with the businesses down there, are they sharing with you that they're really supportive of what Sparky provides?
Yes. Not only do I hear it from direct businesses, but I actually have a business that has a logbook for customers to be able to write comments in, and not a week goes by that I don't get some mention, because I happen to have a business that's kind of close to a stop, and so we recommend using the trolley.
Sure.
And leave your car at our place and use the trolley. And we get a comment, once a week. Somebody rode the trolley, loved the trolley, their kids loved the trolley, they loved the experience. It's just the cool old feel of the trolley. It wasn't just a Greyhound bus with cigarette butts in it, It represented us well, and they enjoyed it well. But we get direct comments from businessmen and from tourists that, hey, we like this trolley. It's fun.
Fair enough. Yes. Would you speak into the, you got
One
it.
of those ideas just came to me. And just briefly, Kyle, you made some really good points, and the collaboration with 76 CID and also with the downtown. Like, wouldn't it be great if there was like a piece of property centrally located that the city already owned that we could actually possibly put a parking deck on and make it an exchange where the trolleys would be, the tagline would, leave your car and use the trolley, because what's most important downtown is not cars parked, it's people downtown. Here's the one thing they're not reproducing is ground downtown. Like, land is at a premium, right? They're not making any more of it. And so it almost makes sense to have an off-site area where people can park. And this is not anything unusual from other communities or other vacation destinations, that you have a centrally located parking area where people can park their cars and then have an amazing nostalgic trolley ride down the strip or through downtown at all of these strategic stops. So if we're talking about expanding it, I don't know, man, I think there's 5 acres of land that the city owns that's being unused and we can't sell. I don't know, I think that'd be a great idea. Just a thought, one alderman's idea, maybe.
Yeah. I'm sorry, in any community, even with the congestion, like even if let's say we found a piece of property and we built a parking garage, the level of congestion, the more cars you have, our city streets, to accommodate more vehicles, I don't know that we have the bandwidth to be able to do that. So it almost makes sense to have something off-site and just bring more people to downtown and have that ability to move them with the trolleys. It seems to be working. I know my office is near a stop, and I see people getting on and off of that thing all day long. So I think, that's just something to think about, that I think is further discussion and further investigation, because I think it'd be a super, kind of solution to the situation that we have.
This idea, I guess, came up yesterday in our meeting with myself and Alderman Schultz and the mayor, and the partnership with the 76 idea, I just think that's a great idea, and I think we would see huge ridership on that. I mean, I could just see people getting off at this theater and going to the restaurant and coming back and leaving their car all day somewhere. I love the idea. A question for you, do you have an average of the ridership, like per day? I'm sure it's different in different months of the year and
Yeah.
stuff, but on an average throughout the year, what's the daily or weekly use?
We know for a fact, even though I don't have it with me today, that when ridership is up, sales is up. Our daily average in January is going to be so much different than July, but
So maybe for
I
the
don't know,
year.
Chris, do you happen to have that number that you could speak? I mean,
Or maybe
we
just
got over
actual
a
butts
million
and
in
seats.
16, 100,000 plus a year, because we know that we came up over a million on just the areas that we kind of averaged, we kind of took the years, we hadn't been tracking it since day one, but we've been tracking it. The bus drivers have a tally, how many people they picked up at each stop, and so they give that to us at the meeting, and then so we took that and said, okay, well, it's this much, and multiplied by the number of months, number of years, and so that's how we came up with, we've moved over 1 million people in 16 years. So 100,000, is not, a year, 100,000 a year is not a wrong number.
Hey, and Mr. Mayor and Kathy, like, just the idea of the collaboration between the 76 and downtown, I don't even think it's a matter of like doing them together. Let 76 do what 76 covers. Let a central location be like the drop-off connecting point, and then let the downtown keep the one that they have. So it really eliminates the trouble of trying to find the legal way to do this, because you just keep this one the way that it is, and you just add that one and let them control this one and downtown control this one. I think that would be just a super idea.
So one of the properties that I had suggested, sorry for the
Yeah.
for this possibility of what Ralph just described is if you just past Fire Station 1 as you're going up the hill and just past the ticket place and the gas station, you've got that huge vacant lot that used to be the mall that then was a racetrack thing. Look at how much parking's up there and start thinking about that as the transition point for the two routes. You could easily get people off of 65. They had plenty of parking up there. And now they could either come the downtown route or go down the 76 route, And hey, this is
an
just
awesome
talk,
idea.
right? And we're not, from my perspective, I appreciate you guys, all the work that you're doing on it. But I think it's time to kind of expand the horizons a little bit and see if we couldn't make it even better, build on what you guys are so successful with already and make it work for more of the city, I think is what we're after.
Good.
Well, obviously there's a lot of branding that has gone into Sparky and the whole thing, and it kind of appeals to the nostalgia of downtown, even the fact that it is a trolley, right? So, to the mayor's point, the idea that I heard is maybe there's 400,000 that could go towards a bonding capacity, and that there's that partnership where there's that 200,000 that could go towards the trolley. Maybe Sparky has a cousin that's more of a bus, right? And the 76 uses that. I mean, we're laughing, but in preparation for our city retreat that we're going to have next month, I've been going back through agendas all the way since 2011 that are listed on our website. And you would be surprised how many times public transportation has been brought up in this community, and really in a start and stop manner. I mean, there was a gondola project. There's been all these different ideas that really didn't come to fruition. But expanding upon the trolley idea, but maybe making it just a little bit different, that could go all the way from the Butterfly Place down. I mean, you guys share the same road as the 76 CID in a sense, and so I just think there's a lot of value there, and we've tried to crack the nut of public transportation in this town for so long that I think it really deserves a really strong look.
I mean, I think this, with the right thought and come together, this could work, and it might be the simplest fix of all the stuff we've heard in years. Yeah.
Sure.
So a couple of things. One is there an aversion to charging a fee to use the trolley? Like if you guys were to consider expanding it and doing something in concert with the 76 CID, would there be a problem with charging?
Well,
A little bit of
I
money?
can't speak for the whole board on that. You know, the way we're set up right now, we're free. To change that, I don't even know what it would take to change the wording or change, but that hasn't been discussed. So your question, I don't have any answer for.
I'm hopeful that that comes up as part of your board discussion as far as we look to take this bigger and broader, that, any other tourism community that I've been all over the country many times, and we happily pay a fee to get a wristband, and you can jump on and jump off. Even downtown Chicago, you can get that kind of service. So I would just recommend you guys explore that further.
Okay.
And then, as far as you guys being able to sit down with the 76 CID, we'd be happy to facilitate something like that to get, after, we'll bring it up at our meeting coming up this week. But if they're amenable, which I can't imagine why they wouldn't be, we'd love to help you facilitate the conversation. But we really want you guys to take the lead, you and the 76 CID, because from the city's perspective, I'd really like to sit back a little bit and kind of see how it shakes out with the people that would be paying into the pot to run it. So, and as far as buying a $4 million piece of property, that might be something a little bit steep, but it doesn't mean it's out of the question. You never know, we might have some benefactor that steps forward. So, but I just want to publicly offer you our assistance in helping to facilitate
Thank you.
that.
Thank you, because we'll need that partnership for sure. For something like that, we'll need support from both sides, for sure. Thank you.
Ruth?
Creative opportunities with transportation, that is wide open here and necessary. I like all the ideas that have been presented, and Marshall, I like your Sparky's cousin, because as I look at your hours, you only go through 6 p.m., and then there's so much that happens in our city after those hours that I think maybe there's a missed opportunity with that as well, to look into transportation for some of the shows or some of the activities that happen in the evening here.
I wouldn't mind having some people dropped off at the Clay Cooper Theater around 7.
Clay, yeah, about 7, a little before 7, a little after 7. Anywhere in ours. Okay, all right, it's good. Well, I haven't been with the board long enough to know why we chose 6 p.m., but I know a lot of the people that we serve is the historic downtown businesses. They close at 6 p.m. A lot of them are closed that time. Is there another particular reason? Chris, can you speak to that? Chris, who's our administrator, some of you might know Chris Bohank. Do you know why it was at 6 p.m.?
Carl, did you say some of us may know Chris?
Yeah.
So Chris Bohans, the reason is twofold. So that's part of it, what Kyle already shared. But the other reason is, so the DOT, drivers can only drive so many hours legally a day. So we'd have to bring on a second crew. And I will say it's not easy to get drivers. They have changed out a lot. But when you talk about a further discussion with the 76 CID and things, that was something we talked about on the original streetscape. I always wanted that, and I'm so glad you guys want that. So we would really look forward to that discussion. I think the only piece for Holly to look up for you is the connection piece, because does that CID start after you get over MoDOT's overpass?
Yes.
Ours had to end before the overpass for that. So that would be the one piece.
We get that gondola.
Well, and Kyle, just one more point to, I mean, there's a brand new restaurant that's going in downtown. And I know I've had discussions with some of the OPC booths down there that if that restaurant were to stay open a little bit later, which I imagine they might, those OPC booths might keep their doors open a little bit later. So you might see a little bit of a trend of keeping it open just a tad bit later downtown. So that might be something to keep on your board's radar as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you would, when you talk to your board, if there was a $2 all-day pass, something, I don't know if, I can't imagine the visitors objecting to $2 for all day. And if you're averaging 100,000 riders a year, that would bring in a couple 100,000.
We haven't ever discussed it.
Yeah,
so-
but if you
yeah,
would
but
just
I've certainly got a note about that.
I think five's better, but, yeah.
What's that?
$5 is better than 2.
Well, $10 is better than 5.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll pay cash for this parking garage. Okay, any other aldermen? So Carl, my understanding is, and Holly, I may need your assistance. What we're doing is, and I guess Holly, at a different meeting, we're gonna vote, you're gonna give us some language to vote, to approve this to go to the voters. Is that correct?
Yes, the same process that was initiated in 2006 will have to happen again, and there will be a choosing of the date, but you also would want to be a part of the negotiation in regards to the ballot language.
Yeah, okay. Carl, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Chris, appreciate you.
Mayor and Alderman, thank you very much.
You bet. There's big, good things on the horizon for historic downtown Branson.
There is. There is. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn the study session?
So moved.
Second.
A motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.